Welcome back to Con Job, everyone. And this week, Dylan, Alexa, and myself are going to be doing a review of Anime Houston. You'll find out why that is a bit hard to say when you get into the pod because we both kept messing that up, or all three of us, actually. And it took place September 13th, 14th, and 15th in, you guessed it, Houston, Texas. Luckily, it did not take place at the same venue as my most hated load in for Comic Palooza. It's a completely different venue, so didn't have to worry about that load in issue. But we do get into some other talks about some shows having their dates, getting their dates out late to vendors and causing some issues with that and planning and things like that. So sit back and enjoy. Without further ado, Alexa, Dylan, buongiorno, or should I say hello?
How are we
Hola.
doing?
All right, good comebacks, guys. Well done, well done. All right, so where are we starting today?
Well, we're gonna do a review later on, but we're gonna continue with the changed format and talk about some things that are happening in the con world. Um, you know, before we started the videoing of our newest podcast, we were talking about how some of these shows that we would typically book are they're getting dates to us later on in the year, later than we're used to, and how it's affecting the show's performance. Um, you want to talk a little bit about that, Dylan, because I know you had a couple of shows that we had talked about, or at least one.
Yeah, obviously, not everybody's going to be as nice as Lexi was with these fun, whimsical emails telling you, "Hey, here is all the details." And sometimes sometimes you're not quite sure when the show starts. Yeah, man, we just want information as soon as possible, especially if we have teams. We want to send it everywhere. And yeah, the really interesting thing that kind of pertains to that topic about this show is another weird thing about dates changing. Actually, we'll get to this later. Yeah, you go ahead. There's just a really weird thing about the hotel situation that this
Oh my
con
God.
was. I don't know if you heard that, but it's an interesting weird thing.
Well, I'll kind of go back a little bit, because I left out something that I did want to say. Um, you know, Convention centers, like a lot of you don't know how convention booking works. So let me kind of go into it a little bit. Typically larger conventions will sign multi-year deals with centers. Shows like MegaCon, Fan Expo, FanX, they'll do the same thing. Reed Pop, and they know their dates, a year or 2 or 3 years out. Smaller shows aren't really able to do that because it's a little bit tougher to estimate, one, when all these other big shows are going to happen, and two, because we don't get the dates for all the FanX shows, or the Fan Expo shows years ahead of time. Um, but it's you've got to navigate around MegaCon and C2E2 and Planet Comic Con and WonderCon when you're a smaller show. So you've got to navigate that, and then you've also got to make sure that those dates that you're getting actually work for the center that you want to go into. So sometimes, as convention bookers, we don't have a ton of options, and then sometimes we've just got to wait and see what happens. Um, you know, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've been waiting on a show to announce their dates, and usually I'm like, oh, they usually announce in October because their show is in June or July, and we don't get anything until January. It affects, one, the way that you book your shows, like you know your teams, for you guys especially. But your hotel bookings, like what you said, Dylan. And it affects a lot of different things. Um, with that being said, you know it also affects the attendance on those shows. It
Absolutely.
affects the spending. It affects a little bit of everything. Um, so now that you guys know, hey, sometimes we have to navigate around all these different little things. People know a little bit more about why you might not get a date for a show until a little bit later. And I know, um, the show we're going to talk about today, because we're going to talk about Anime Dallas. Their show date,
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Houston.
How many
Yeah,
times
yeah.
I messed that up in the
Ryan called
pre-prod?
it Washington earlier,
Yeah.
so we're
Yeah,
like,
he
no.
did. So, completely different side of the country, part of the country.
I'm
Um,
gonna edit that out.
yeah, okay. Um, so with Anime Houston, they didn't get their dates until later. Um, you know, to the extent that like the one of the owners of the con, who is also a voice actor, had already booked themselves at another show on the other side of the country. So they that was a thing, and they had to roll with it, and they were as involved as they could be. But it's sometimes those things happen.
Yeah, because I imagine this also affects celebrities. Oh, they're booked somewhere else, and then what celebrity's going is going to affect what attendee even wants to go, or if they're even available. So yeah, like, I mean, it's the woes of the small show.
And indeed, and I will tell you, there are you getting a text, Ryan?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there are certain voice actors that they will not, and certain celebrities, they will not fly all the way across the country from LA to do a single show. They want to have, oh,
Even
hey,
if they're getting paid.
it, hear me out.
Okay.
If they're going to do a show that's a 2-day show, they would like to have something the following weekend on that side of the country, because they're coming out. They're going to be gone. They're going to fly out Friday. They're going to get into town. They're going to leave Monday. So they're taking 4 days. Why not book something on this side of the country the following weekend, and then do like a toy store signing or a comic book shop signing? They would prefer to get those things kind of locked in well ahead of time, so that they can promote it. And that's the biggest thing, is the time to promote. If you get your dates late, you're already behind the ball
Which we
on
talked about in
promotion.
our we've talked about it in one of our other pods that will be going up as the advertising stuff. It's hard to
Exactly.
advertise if you can't say, hey, come out to the con when it gets here.
Exactly. We'll tell you later.
And depending on the size too, people are not all of them are destination shows, but depending on the size, people are flying in from all over the country or even world, and they got to save up. So there's a lot of money that could be had. So
Absolutely.
Then
So
oversaturation also happens because now there's a Houston show in either 2 or 3 weeks, Animeverse, and so another small show. So I don't, maybe they had to do this dates, and one of
but
those shows is
now,
going to be
oh, it's an
affected.
anime one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another anime one in the same city, and I think there was a Houston one just a month ago. So
Mm-hmm.
oversaturation, especially with these small shows, kind of just eat each other.
I feel like oversaturation is a topic that we have to discuss at some point. I think that's a long con discussion, because there's a lot to discuss about how shows are expanding. But yes, when you get your dates late, you run that risk of somebody else has come in, or three other somebody else's have come in.
Right.
So
All
with that
right.
being
So
said,
I was
talk
gonna
to us,
say,
Dylan.
what do we got?
Talk to us about
Anime.
Anime de Houston.
I will set the scene.
Anime Dalwa Houston.
I'll set the scene in that we actually booked Anime Houston last year, but when I got the email, I saw the floor plan and there was a giant pillar right in the middle of my booth. And here is a lesson, and be polite to your showrunners. That's obviously not their fault. I emailed them. I said, "Hey, I was already a little overbooked on this weekend, and now I noticed there's a pillar again. This is last year in my booth. Is there anything we can do? Like, can I even get a refund?" And they said, "I can give you a refund, or we'll just give you a free booth at Anime Dallas." So I canceled Houston, so I didn't do it last year. And lovely customer support, they just gave me a booth in Dallas. Reese actually stayed with us last year, and so yeah, and I had a wonderful time at Anime Dallas, local for me, much bigger show. So so this year rolls around, I'm like, okay, had a great time at Dallas. Houston's 4 hours away, but at the time I actually didn't think I was going to do it. I'm like, yeah, I will do it. I was going to stay home, and then one of my workers last week said, "Hey, I'm feeling a little sick." I'm like, "Don't worry, I'll go and do it." So drive over there, day of, get up at 5 a.m, get there, load in, super easy for me. There, I think in total, don't quote me, there might be like 36 vendors in the whole thing, not including Artist Alley, but just vendors. So already, it's a very narrow loading dock, but divided by 36 vendors, it's no big deal. In fact, I didn't
Right.
even park at the loading dock. I just rolled everything down the loading dock, and I was even able to park there the whole time.
Oh
I
wait,
didn't have to park there and move it.
this is Houston, right? This is my favorite loading dock.
No.
This
This is no
different
this is
different building though. I'm
we
assuming.
are at the Hyatt, and I say
Okay.
Hyatt with quotation marks because that's what I'll get into. But it was at the Hyatt, just a Hyatt hotel, and we're loading into the basement.
Okay. Where
Set up.
was Pee Wee's bike there? Oh wait, that's San Antonio. Damn it. I'm sorry, I'm all over the map. Continue.
At least you're in the same state this time. But
yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Not
baby
Washington.
Baby steps.
Super easy load in. Can't complain about that. The only person that might have had a difficult load in, they had guys with a bunch of swords, but because it's almost like one car at a time, and for the load in dock because it's just down. But I roll everything up, set up, super easy, and then I'm like, all right, let me go check into the Hyatt. I keep saying that because literally the day before, Hyatt sold the hotel to another company, so it's no longer a Hyatt. And so almost everybody's reservations, customers, vendors, like it's not a Hyatt hotel. So that was really screwing people up. And again, this isn't the fault of the convention, like of Anime Houston, but the hotel they're at, it's no longer a Hyatt. Long lines to check in, and so that was just a whole confusion. And I even one of the showrunners was saying there was an issue with people managing parking. They're like, oh no, like the show's been canceled, and they were like telling people to turn around. And when they found that out, they're like, no, what are you talking about? The show's not canceled. And so huge just confusion with it no longer being a Hyatt the day before the Hyatt Convention Center had this show.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I mean, there's strike number one. Not Anime Houston's fault, but just a weird thing to overcome already.
You would think that they would have known that there was an ownership change coming,
That's a
though.
bad
Like,
look, yeah.
yeah, that's wild.
Because when it was going to be my teammate, he was going to get there Thursday and leave Monday, and I thought, oh, I'll just get there Friday and I'll leave Sunday night. I can save 2 days that I've already pre-purchased it with Hyatt. It's no longer Hyatt. Couldn't even talk to them to change the dates. Now I'm going to have to that's just another reason. I was on the lucky side. I was able to check in that day, but customers and vendors alike were just saying they're chatting for 30 minutes to an hour to try to even check in. So already kind of a poor customer experience for those that are staying at the hotel. But there's that. There was load in. I loaded up 30 minutes before the show started, and then I'm all set up. And I will say I'm pretty thankful that they gave me front and center spots of the entrance, so cannot complain about that. That was a good side.
So now it shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday, correct?
And then
Okay.
I got there and then set up within an hour. Boom, we're there.
What were the hours for Friday?
They were they had VIP, but we all know how that goes.
2 hours.
I believe that was 2 to 8, and then 10 to 8, and then 10 to 5.
Woo.
Okay.
A 10-hour day on Saturday.
I was gonna say 2's a little early on a Friday too, in my opinion.
Yeah. So
Man.
another weird thing to note, which I mean, get your savings wherever you can. All of the badges said Anime Dallas 2023. So I'm like, oh, there must have been. Oh, we have leftover badges from last year's Dallas show. Let's just use this one.
Oh wow,
that's
same hours. Yeah.
Wow. Just wow.
Now you said was this the second year because you were there? You were signed up for it last year, but was last year the first year for that show?
No, apparently, I believe this is their 4th year.
Okay.
And again, I wasn't there last year. We transferred. but yeah, and the showrunner was super nice. I keep saying showrunner. It was the person in charge of ending. She did come around on Sunday, and she was getting so much feedback from everybody, and basically said, "Hey, we understand this is the lowest attendance we've had like in our history, and we apologize. We're going to make things better." And I got to say, their customer service is wonderful. They have been slapped with all of these issues, and I feel like they were handling it in the best way a showrunner could. So I do want to commend them for that.
All right. So, I sales wise, Friday. I mean, well, I guess foot traffic. How was foot traffic? Because it's 2 to 8. I mean, was there anybody there at 2?
Uh, let's see. I mean, yeah, it was. We've done slower shows, and again, super helpful that super helpful that we were front and center. It was just slow foot traffic. It was an Friday. Pulling this up.
Did it pick? I mean, I was gonna say, did it pick up? Because again, when I said it earlier, it was 2's a little early for a Friday. Because usually, I would say you can't really start anything until like I want to say 5, but most people are going to say, oh, what about people who are trying to get out early? So open it at 4. Like 4 to 8's plenty for a Friday
Yeah,
for the most part. Heck, do it 4 to 9
we
if you
actually
want.
had an okay time from 2 to 3. It looks like no sales at all at 4, and then it picked up at 5, and then almost it could have closed at 6 or so. Or I
Yeah,
feel like
it
it
picked
could
up
have
at
closed at
5.
6, or they could have kind of started at 4 or 5, or like
Right.
4,
Yeah.
say till 8. Because then there were some fun little activities happening right outside the door, and so like there was some Avatar Circus Delay type show where they're spinning and stuff, and I could even see that from my booth when things like that would come over. Then they would come into the vendor hall, and so in between panels there would be a little spike. But then whenever that's happening, it's a small enough show, nobody's going to be looking at the vendor hall whenever the little cosplay show or something's right outside the door.
Okay.
Um,
So
I will say again, can't compare it to last year, but if it's safe to compare it to Anime Dallas, their flagship show, we're about half of what last year's Friday was. But also take that with an asterisk. Anime Dallas was on Black Friday, and I feel like people are just a little bit more open to purchase on Black Friday than they
yeah,
are a random Friday in Houston.
that's the
So,
Dallas one at the airport there, right? The hotel right
mm-hmm,
there attached. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So
There.
the last time I did it, it was downtown. It was close to the convention center. So when have you done it since 2022, Dylan?
You're talking about Anime Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've only done it last year, and it was at a hotel. I want to say it's a Hyatt also, because they had almost an identical weird loading dock, but
Huh.
make it work. So yeah, it was a hotel last year as well.
All right. So then let's move into Saturday then. Unless
Yeah.
you have anything else Friday.
So Saturday, 10 to 8.
Did it feel like a Saturday at all?
It didn't.
Okay.
I mean, Saturday, twice as good as Friday. I will say I'm a changed man. Normally, we save some money and we book a cheaper hotel farther away. And this was the first time I've personally ever just literally my hotel room was like 2 floors above the convention hall. And I got to say, I'm a changed
Nice.
man. I'm like, that was so nice to just walk downstairs, set up. Oh, let me run upstairs, grab something. So I think my team's going to be happy that I'm like, it's mood is just so much better to sell whenever you can just run upstairs. So
And you can sleep in a little bit longer. You don't have to worry about
exactly.
traffic.
I will
Yeah.
say the only host hotel that I ever stay at is when I do C2E2, because it's so
Yeah.
great. Oh, it's so nice.
You don't have to walk in the cold.
Well, exactly. Or possibly the heat. Who knows? Because it's Chicago.
And I mean, well, C2 is different too because everybody gets out around the same time, so it's impossible to get an Uber to leave there.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, we always stay at the one attached too, because the last couple of times I've been there, it was, for me, subarctic temperature, so it was like in the 50s, and I thought I was gonna die. So I was like, as long as I don't have to leave. I remember doing an Uber Eats once, and the guy was like, "You want to meet me out front?" I'm like, "Do you mind coming inside?"
I swear, Ryan would not survive any type of like nuclear winter.
You should have seen me in Sweden when we were there. It was like that place, that island that we were at when I thought I was gonna die.
Except it was filled with tall, attractive blondes.
No comment. I know one attractive blonde who might disagree with that, but
And she was a redhead at the time, I think.
no, she had her blonde hair.
No.
It was bronze. Bronze. Yeah.
Bronze.
Strawberry blonde.
Rose gold.
Yeah, there you go. But we digress. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Back on track.
I did something that I never do, and I would probably get onto my teammates for doing, but I left at like 7:30 when the show closed at 8 because it was just over. And I will say the neighbor directly across from me, they left at 4 p.m. like packed
Oh
up,
my
got
gosh.
out of there at 4 p.m.
Like left.
left, and the booth beside them was the official Anime Houston merch, and so they just kind of expanded. So that
Oh
was
my
a shame.
gosh.
But
That's ballsy when you're that close.
Right.
they were also selling
Uh-oh.
2023 Anime Houston merch.
No, they were not.
Yeah, I mean, now the t-shirts. Now they had a fun little armadillo plushie that they were selling, and I mean that's timeless. But the shirts they were selling were Anime Houston 2023.
Like no Anime Houston 2024 merch?
No,
Oh
Oh
my
wow.
gosh.
That's wild. Like, look,
Interesting.
we have sold, years prior t-shirts because we'll sell them at a discount. They're, we use them as throwouts and whatnot. But
But you always
holy
have new
crap.
ones.
Oh, to not have new merch is crazy, man. That's wild.
Or here's an idea: don't put a year on it. Just put Anime Houston.
there we go, timeless.
Save
And then
everybody
we
the
had different
trouble.
variations.
Look at me. I'm a marketing genius.
Okay.
No comment. All right, so let's move on to I guess move on to Sunday. Is there
Let's talk
anything
about
else
Sunday.
Saturday? Is anything else Saturday first before we do? Anything else you want to add in besides?
Left 7:30.
If you're
ran
leaving
upstairs.
early, Dylan, I got to imagine you are not a happy camper.
Well, again, I would have stayed there if there were people. I had my sales, and that's the thing. Again, I think there was another panel going. Like it started at 7, so I'm like
And why do it so late, Alexa? Why do panels that close to close? Shouldn't they be much earlier in the day so people can come back in?
There's no reason to host panels that late in the day. There are a couple of things that conventions do that drive me wild. One is it's stacking back-to-back panels for huge name guests that people are going to want to go to, and having no time in between, especially when those people have limited signing times as it is. So you're drawing guests off the floor and then drawing them back to lines. And it doesn't benefit the vendor floor at all. So
Right.
having those panels, running panels late, makes no sense to me
Yeah.
unless you have designed it that way to clear out your vendor hall at the end of the day. But
But even
that
that's
should
risky.
be it is risky, but that should also be reserved for your costume contest time because I've done way too many shows where they do the costume contest at 3 p.m. and oh, hey, costume contest is over at 4. Show ends at 6. You know what? Let's go ahead and leave because we've already seen the costume contest.
That's what I'm saying. You get too close, they're like, I don't need to go back in there for a half hour and walk
Exactly.
around.
There's no reason for them to come back in, and you're really shooting your vendors in the foot.
Right.
Something also, I'm gonna say this is mostly an anime thing. Kind of sounds like it's a Dragon Con thing as well. Like the anime shows, especially the hotels, they like to have their late nights fun. Like they had some music. Like I don't even know what was going on, but there was something music related. Like that, and so overall, I left at 7:30. Went to have dinner. Now we will go over to Sunday, and I will tell a tale about the most expensive cup of coffee I've ever ordered. Because I'm a princess and wanted to get Starbucks and not the free coffee that was available, I thought, all right, let me go to Starbucks again. Let me drive over. It's 5 minutes away to Starbucks. I'm coming back, driving straight, and
Oh, I heard about
this car just goes and crashes right, sideswipes me, and then just takes up and goes 90 miles per hour. I'm in a hybrid car. I can't really keep up, and I want to at least take a picture of the of the license plate. So I zoom and I lose him, but then like traffic stops. So then like we're in bumper to bumper and I take a picture and then he pulls off. This is a mile and a half away after he like sideswiped me and he parks. And now I'm like, oh, okay. I just like chased after this guy, which is not something I would normally
Did,
do. We pull in.
did you have your Superman shirt on?
Hold on, let me make a timeout. Dude, you're in Texas where they can carry guns everywhere.
This is exactly what my wife said afterwards. She's like, next time just let them sideswipe you and run off. And then I get out and I like pull out my insurance and he seems agitated. He's like, this is Houston, this happens every day. I go, well, and then I go, well, driving, off afterwards. He's like, oh, you're not from here. You're from Dallas. After he sees my ID, like this happens in Houston every day. And I'm like, well, driving off after you do that doesn't. So I get his information. And then he drives off. And yeah, again, my wife was like, I wish you hadn't had like chased after him. I'm like, you don't know how that would have handled. So all in all, most expensive cup of coffee. I could have just had the nice free one that they're offering. Instead, I wanted to get my Starbucks.
Oh my gosh.
And now my car is sideswipes. And so now I'm starting. Then I get in 5 minutes before the show starts. And so that's the start of my Sunday. But then, nice little turn. We did almost half of Saturday in the first 2 hours of Sunday. And I was like, oh, well, this is making up. Like, I don't know what's going on, but like I'm seeing new people that I didn't see Friday and Saturday. So that was kind of nice. And so we had like a really nice rush at the beginning of Sunday and then kind of slowed down. And I was like, I bet I can get out of here right at 5. And so I kind of had a slow tear down. And overall Sunday was like $200 shorter, or like less than Saturday, despite
So
being
it wound
3
up
hours
being
less.
okay.
Despite being 3 hours less. So
Okay.
I mean that kind of despite being 3 hours less, technically being 4 hours less because I kind of started tearing down around 4ish. So yeah, there's my Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Overall, half of what Anime Dallas is. But again, that's their flagship show, and it's right before it's during Black Friday, Cyber Monday like type weekend. Yeah.
Now, what was the cost? You had a 10 by 10?
10 by 20 in cap.
10 by okay. Do you know the cost of a single versus a double by chance?
I'm not sure if they charge for the corners. I think they do, but I know the 20 by 10 in cap was $1,700.
Okay.
So, and after all this is said and done, kind of a lot of issues with the show. I ended up making a profit. It wouldn't have been as good if I had to have sent one of my workers from Vegas that it was originally planned to do. Had to fly him, had to get him a rental, parking, and all that stuff, and pay him. But after the so profitable show with an asterisk that if this guy doesn't have insurance and I have to fix the side of my car, then it's definitely a negative show. So that depends on how you want to look at that show.
So I got to know. Like, did you guys not fill out a police report?
The show was about to start. It was I got his insurance and I was just gonna file it afterwards. Which I still haven't filed. I need to do that today.
He's going to deny it. You know he is.
Oh, yeah.
I took
pictures.
I took pictures, and he had an old pickup truck, like not a scratch on it. And then of course I got a scratch on my 22 CRV.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not making light of it, but I think it was a little humorous that you're like, I have a hybrid, so I couldn't chase after him.
I couldn't catch up.
I can vouch that the electric ones are very fast.
Yes. Well, it's because they're remote control cars.
Well, it's fast. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, you can catch anything in that one.
Well,
but pro is I tore down super fast. Another pro. I think I found a new hire. One of the staff members who I recognized from Anime Dallas. She was like, "Oh, can I help you set up?" And I'm like, "Sure. Take some posters, anything you want." She helped me set up, and then she kept coming by the booth throughout the weekend and was kind of helping. And then she filled out an application, and she's like, "Hey, I can do Texas shows." Like her and her girlfriend. I'm like, "Yeah, fantastic." So might have found a new hire. So I'm actually finding a lot of pros about this show, despite some of the negatives.
Look, the one thing that I haven't heard you say, and maybe I missed it, but I don't think I did, is the absence of a certain large booth at this show that
I will
helped
say
out.
there is an omnipresent vendor that we probably all know, and because they were not at this show, I feel there was a bit of a healthy power vacuum for the other vendors. You know, maybe customers' wallets weren't going to certain other products, and they were being nicely distributed to the rest. And so, yeah, that is another pro about this show. I feel like by lack of them being there, everybody else was a slightly bigger fish in a small pond.
Interesting. I have no idea who you guys are talking about.
That's a lie, because we named them before the podcast started. It was Megan Withy Fine Art,
Oh yeah, dude.
or the
Like,
art of Megan Withy. They weren't there, so obviously there was there was less of a power vacuum, or more of a power vacuum, I guess.
I appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
So I guess the end all be all question, Dylan. Did you re-up, or
So-
would you if it was available?
Here's the thing. I'm 100% doing Anime Dallas. In fact, I've already talked to them, and I have a really big booth front and center at Anime Dallas because I had a great time there. I'm going to see how Anime Dallas goes, but overall, it ended up being a profitable show. And if I
Would
don't
it
get in
have
another car
been-
accident, I will go back to Anime Houston. I feel like they were just burdened with a lot of things that were out of their control. And they had wonderful customer service, getting like nice reviews from all the vendors on things that they can improve. I feel like they want to do better. They want to do as well as they did at Anime Dallas, and so I feel that they will, and so I will be back.
So would you go? Would you have the same tune if you were sending someone versus you going? Because obviously you don't have to pay, yourself versus paying someone to go for you.
Fine line. I think we still would have been a little profitable, and then I wouldn't have had to do anything. So I could have been working on a new design. So or I do it myself, and I do like doing shows, and it was more profitable. So it would have been a win-win. It wasn't even the smallest show we did this year. This week. We lost money at another show this weekend, but no exciting stories about that one.
So okay. Anything else to add about it then?
Easy loadout. Yeah, I feel like just about everybody had no problem, even with the narrow loadouts. Most people, other than the sword people, were able to kind of just hand carry their stuff out. And yeah, I was out of there. I literally left the hotel at 5:01. So
Oh, nice. And how far are you?
it was a
from your
4-hour
house?
drive. But man, we had a couple car wrecks that made it a 5-hour drive. But yeah, I got to sleep in my own bed last night, so happy day.
That's never a bad thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. All right. Well, I guess if we have nothing else to add, then I guess we can go ahead and end it. Who's going to take us home?
Dylan, do the honors since you had the rough weekend.
So much pressure here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, you guys have take care. Well, I'll keep working on this outro. See you guys next week. Maybe on
And-
the long con.
One thing, Instagram. Anybody know what it is?
Con
Con
job
job
Some form
pod.
of con job. But
Con
hey,
Job
also
Pod.
check
Facebook.
out Facebook. Yeah, we have a Facebook now.
Facebook
so,
is Con Job, and our YouTube is Con Job. So
Mhm.
get on there. Be on there or be square. I don't even know
And
if I
leave some
said that right.
freaking comments.
Yeah, leave some comments.
Tell us what you
and,
want. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, do you
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
keep
Tell us
hearing
what you
us
And
squawk
if
about
you were
shows? Do you have any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, if you were at a particular show and we didn't review it, or you want to review it, let us know. And if you were at this one and you disagreed with Dylan or you agree with him, tell us. So
Mhm.
that's it. See ya.
See you guys.